Hi, my name is Kandyce Nelson, and I am honored to be here today to talk to you about worship. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am a mom and a wife. I live in sunny California. I am in school right now. I'm doing an internship. I love every second of it. Let's see, what else? I've been a part of Revel for, goodness, I think 6 years. I love Revel. Miss my Revel family so much. And I'm a worshiper. And so are you. So when I say I'm a worshiper, many different things come to your mind. Like, what is worship anyway? You may think, I don't get it. If I'm honest, I hear people talk about worship, but it's actually my least favorite part of church. You may think, if I'm honest, I enjoy it, but I don't really see, the importance of it. You may think, if I'm honest, I could do it all day long. You may think, if I'm honest, I used to like it, but it's just been too much in this season. I just can't. Or you may think, if I'm honest, if it weren't for worship, I don't think I could have gotten through this season. There's a whole gamut of emotions and thoughts that you could have when you hear the word worship. So, what is it first? I got my Bible right here. I'm going to turn to Matthew 22:37. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. That's really worship. It is the full offering of ourselves. We were created to worship, and in worship, you are the gift. You are the gift to the Creator. Like breathing, worship is inextricably woven into the fabric of who we are, how we function. And also, like breathing, it can be done incorrectly. You can breathe shallowly. You could not take the deep breaths you were created to take. And in worship, we can give our attention to lesser things. They're called idols. And we do it all the time. So, in these last 9 months, there has been a ferocious battle over our worship, over our attention. I know when I first went into quarantine, I think I had exhausted every Netflix series I was remotely interested in within the first maybe 3 weeks. I think I had eaten every recipe I had wanted to make within probably the first 2 weeks. I had read all the things I wanted to read. I had given my attention to so many things. And let me say that that's not wrong to have interests. It's not wrong to enjoy Netflix. For me, what was wrong was that instead of allowing myself to feel, the sadness I was feeling at being pulled out of a school year that I was loving. Instead of feeling the frustration of doing a drive-through graduation, instead of the graduation I had been looking forward to all year, instead of feeling my disappointment in not getting to say goodbye to some of my friends who were moving across the world and that I very well will probably never physically touch or hug again this side of heaven, instead of allowing myself to feel those things, I watched Netflix and I cooked delicious food and I read really interesting books. And that's okay. That's okay. So, I want to ask you a few questions. So, grab some paper and pen or pencil. I'll give you a few seconds. I'm going to read to you Deuteronomy 8:19. Let me see. Then it shall be, if you by any means forget the Lord your God and follow other gods and serve them and worship them, I testify against you this day that you shall surely perish. That's a hard verse. It feels very fire and brimstone-y. It feels like a slap on the hand. But if you for a second would close your eyes, I'm going to read to you now how I hear that verse. So close your eyes. Now what I hear is the warning of a loving Father. He understands his creation better than the creation understands itself. And he is saying, beloved daughter, if you go after other gods and serve and worship them, it's going to kill you. It's going to kill who I created you to be. It's going to kill your dreams, your purpose, our connection. You will perish. You can open your eyes. Worship is deeply valuable to God, but not for him, for us. So I hope you have that paper and pencil. I'm going to ask you some questions, and then I'm going to give you time, very short period of time, to answer them. And you can go over these later on break or discuss in your groups. First question. What in these last few months have I given myself to? What in these last few months have I given myself to? What has had my attention? What has had my attention? Where have I put my trust? Where have I put my trust? What have I leaned into to feel comforted, peaceful, grounded, connected? What have I leaned into to feel comforted, peaceful, grounded, connected? And last one, and in doing so, who am I becoming? And in doing so, who am I becoming? So these questions are hard. They're hard to ask ourselves, and they're harder to answer. But I want you to answer them with the Holy Spirit and know that He is not angry. He's not disappointed. He's not disillusioned. There's so much grace. There's so much grace. And He knows who we are. He made us to be this way. He made us to be an overflow of the things we put our attention and our comfort in. And He did it so that we would find Him, so that we would find the place, the person that we were meant to lean into. And there's so much hope, always. So I want to go back to Deuteronomy 8:18. So we just read 19, which was the warning of what happens when we put our worship in the wrong place. But in 18, it begins with, "And you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you power." That's the key. Remembering who He is and who you are. So I was brought up to believe that anything I offered God had to be perfect, that I had to come before Him absolutely cleansed, sinless, perfect. But when I look at Jesus, I don't see that. Yes, Jesus was perfect, right? And yet, in the garden, on the night that it was all going to go down, He sat and He cried out. He cried out. And he offered His fear and His doubt and his plan to the Father, right? But if we want a less than perfect example, we can go to the Old Testament and we can see David. David, who we're told is one of God's very favorites. He calls him a man after His own heart. And we all know how flawed David was. And one only needs to read the Psalms to see David's constant offering of fear, of doubt, of questioning, right? And every time he lays this before God, he is met with hope. He is met with peace. He is met with comfort. Every psalm where he's crying out ends in a place of trust. And I don't think that was simply because David was really good in talking himself down from the constant cliffs he got himself on. It is the grace of God that meets us when we come to him and offer the fullness of what we have to offer in worship. It's a divine exchange. So I began this talk with some, if I'm honest, statements. And that was just a very, very short list of what you may be feeling about worship, right? And you may have a very long list. I'm sure you do. We all do. We're human. We have a very long list of things we are feeling about everything right now. So many things we're feeling right now. But these are offerings. These are offerings. This is kingdom currency to lay at the feet of Jesus, to realign our attention, to realign our body, mind, spirit back on the one who can actually meet us in those places and give us peace that surpasses understanding, give us hope that does not make any sense when we look at our situation. He's the one who can give us everything we need to move forward. Like Jesus and David, we can just remember who he is. And he will meet us with all our mess in that place. It really is that simple. It really is that simple. So you may have noticed I really didn't mention anything about music. The thing that we all really think of when we think of worship, really. And Rochelle has already spoken to worship, and you've already experienced worship. I just want to say quickly that worship is a perfect vehicle for this. It's a perfect way to align our body because it takes our physicality, our mind, and our spirit and focuses us completely back on the one. So I encourage you to lean into worship music as a way to help you if you're needing some help. If you need extra help in finding music that speaks to you, Adam is an amazing, amazing resource. So I would love to wrap this up with just 4 encouragements. 1, I encourage you to pray and seek and ask God to bring to mind those places where your attention may be off a little. Just help him show you where you need some recalibration. And when he shows it to you, don't beat yourself up. Be kind. It literally takes but a moment to realign, to give him the worship of that moment, to lay down your heart before him. I encourage you also to give your day to him first thing, like first thing when you wake up. It's just a really great way to start aligned. And you can just, a simple prayer like, Lord, today I choose to give you my attention. Give me grace, God. Give me grace to remember you in all I do. That's it. 3, I encourage you to set aside time to worship him every day. whatever you can. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes on your lunch break, on your drive to and from work, after dropping your kids off at school, in the shower in the morning, whatever you can give him. Just start carving out time specifically to remember him. Give him your worship. And lastly, I just encourage you to enjoy this process. Enjoy it. Like, actually allow yourself to be excited when you see a place where you've been off. Like, oh, thank you, God. Yes, this is a place I get to grow. This is a place I get to bump this idol off the throne and put you right back in it, God. Thank you. Because this is what we were made for. There is not an expectation of perfection at all. He knows us. He loves us. He loves us. Even all this. He loves our journey. He loves our fight. He is faithful. All right. I love you. Even though we haven't met, one day when we're back together on the ranch, come give me a hug. Let me know you saw this. We can just talk about worship. All right. Peace to you.